guys, I'm here with one of my daughters, Koki, and with the Living Wheel Astrology cards. And this deck is really quite surprising. I really enjoy it. We are going to go through my thoughts and opinions on this deck. I'm going to do a flip through, and I'm going to lay the cards out in an astrology wheel, and with Koki's astrology chart, and I'm going to read the chart. You know, to some degree, there's parts that are going to get edited out by the time you see this, but we're going to do a pretty complete but quickish walkthrough of the chart with these cards. It makes a really beautiful way to look at a chart. And so I think even if you don't use tarot and oracle, but you are like exclusively doing astrology, this would be a really great tool for in-person readings. Let's get into it. Also, you are going to be able to find all the information for this deck, as well as all the information for my website and booking a reading with me in the description box below. And please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that you can catch everything else that is coming out in the future and to give me some love back. So today I have the Living Wheel Astrology cards. They're by Jason Fogarty, and I'm going to have all of the information in the description box. And if you are seeing this when this video is fresh up, there's a giveaway on right now on Jason's Instagram page, which is at the Living Wheel. So it comes in this cute and sturdy two-piece box with thumb tabs on both sides. It's entirely indie published and made. We have a sun and moon on the inside. It comes with a small little fold out, a keyword booklet. And so in the keyword booklet, you have the names and symbols and in a one-word description. You probably really want to learn astrology to use this, but this would be a really great tool to learn astrology, because it's going to make your ability to use the wheel so amazing. And I'm going to show that in this video. Actually, I filmed that before this. Okay, in the very front page, it says, over the course of a lifetime, we will find ourselves on many paths and utilizing many different tools. The Living Wheel Astrology cards are just such a tool. As above, so below. These cards were initially designed to support my ongoing journey with astrology. They can be used as an oracle, altar element, or as a way to visually represent the astrological. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. I just did that, and it's fabulous. It's the first thing I wanted to do when I saw the cards, was to lay out a wheel. So first I laid out my own wheel, but I didn't have the space. And so when the little one was in bed, I laid out my daughter's, and you're all going to see that in this video. Also, what I really liked on Jason's website, it says, as above, so below. As above, so below on my desk. And yeah, I just did that. The keys. No one word can express or teach the totality of a system like astrology. These keywords were selected to be a starting point. They simply unlock the door and provide a place to start exploring. There's always more to know. If you're learning astrology, get a book. I've learned so many things in my life from other folks who taught me. I learned astrology from other folks who taught me, and they were like, read this, read this, read this. You really do need to do a lot of reading, or have really verbal teachers. So on the back, there's an oracle reading, an as above, so below reading. There's a birth chart that's laid out like this. I really encourage people to lay charts out in the wheel as it is in the sky from your perspective at the center in the earth. You're going to see how the cards interact and relate to each other in a visual way. It's fantastic. Do it. Yeah. So this is the Living Real Astrology, and we're going to take a look at the cards, and then then you are going to get to see me do a brief astrology reading. They have a gold stardust. They've been shuffled and used already. They have a gold stardust finish. It's beautiful. They're matte. They're pretty thick, but not like, they've got some movement. They're little. I quite like them. You all have these cards that come in these little boxes. Some of them are much cuter, but anyway. So, you know, they're quite little. That's no use. They're just gorgeous. These are the backs. The box is embossed in gold. Okay. Also, something I love about these cards, see these backs? First, we're going to look at the backs. They're just really gorgeous. I love them. And then we have the fronts, and we have this. This is where I really like it. See this? That model is the same on the back, because all the backs of all cards are the same. It is not the same on here. And I like that, because when you lay these cards out, I think it would look really weird if you were laying out a spread and they had this repeating tonal pattern. But like, they don't. Each background is different. Okay, and I think that's a big deal when you're doing a deck like this. All right. So many people, I think, would be like, gray mottled background. And like, repeat it. Anyway, we have the sun card. We have all of the moon phases. And I liked this because both for my daughter's astrology wheel and mine, when I placed the moon, I used the moon that we had. She's a waxing gibbous, and I am a waning crescent. And then we have a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. And we have the earth. So when I laid out the astrology wheel, I placed the earth at the center, because that's how we're seeing the astrology wheel from. And then I laid across it the season she was born in. Then we have the south and north node. And the planets, Mercury. Yeah, I want to get right in. Okay, we have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron. I'm glad Chiron was included. I would have liked an MC just for laying out a chart, because it does move around. But yeah, I like that Chiron was included. Most people use Chiron even if they aren't using other asteroids. I think most people do. Why aren't you using Chiron? The first house, the gold also is visually textured and individual and different everywhere it's used on every single card. And I don't know if I can show that. Which, even though it's not foil, like, visually it looks like I'm looking at gold leaf. And it's not like gold on, like, foil on the cards, but it visually looks like I'm looking at gold leaf via the way that texture has visually been depicted. There's one you can see good on the camera. Impressive. I'm impressed. Maybe they created it with gold leaf. I'm impressed. I don't know. I'd be interested. And then, so those were all the houses, 1 through 12. I'm sorry, I didn't name, there were numbers. I'm sorry if I should have named them. So then we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. I like how modeled the Pisces one is. It just seems so suiting for Pisces. All right, and then we have early winter, deep winter, or I think they call it late winter, early spring, late spring, early summer, late summer, early fall, late fall. And so there it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really, really, really pleased with this deck. And you are going to get to see it laid out as a reel. As a wheel. All right. So here we are with the Living Wheel astrology cards. And they are laid out in the form of one of my daughters, Koki. That's one of her nicknames. Chart. Her birthday is October 10th, 2000 at 11:07 in the morning. She was born in the early fall. These cards give all the moons, so I was able to show that she had a waxing gibbous moon in the 4th house in Pisces. And so I'm really enjoying these cards. I'm not calling them tarot or oracles. They're astrology cards. I've done astrology far longer than tarot, 25, 26 years. I'm kind of losing track. I'm not sure when I switched from one year to the next. And I love being able to visually see the cards like this. Like to see the chart. I prefer to look at a wheel. Then that's how I read astrology charts, is looking at the wheel. So laying this out like the wheel, it's a little crowded to fit in the frame here. You're getting a bit of Koki's favorite blanket and the duct tape on the table in our 1960s trailer. But this is amazing for me. There's an Earth card, and there are 8 season cards, and so we have Earth early fall. I appreciate having 2 cards per season because that goes closer with my worldview. All right, so we're gonna get into this chart. I'm excited about this. Okay, so we have Sagittarian 1st house with Pluto conjunct Chiron. Koki has a grand cross, like right in the 4 quarters. So the opposition side of that grand cross is Her 7th house, Gemini, Saturn conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is actually like a teeny smidge out of this is a like almost exact conjunction. This is like a wide conjunction, but still a conjunction. And then we have Mars in the 10th house in Virgo, which is also conjunct her MC. And we have this gibbous moon in Pisces in the 4th house. And so this is a big, huge factor in Koki's charts. She does have a lot going on in it. We're going to go through it. This Pisces moon is actually fairly common in our family. Sag rising is common amongst 3 of my 6 children. So is this Venus sitting here in the 12th house. So yeah, we're going to get into this. So Koki's sun is in the 11th house, Libra. Her Mercury is not conjunct. Her Mercury is in her 11th house, Scorpio, with her Venus. She's definitely got the most bite in her Venus. So, you know, you're going to be in the intro shot, which we haven't shot yet. Koki, this Sagittarius rising with which is sextile to her Neptune. It has a huge impact on her physical appearance. She's very elfin-like, and she's often been described as looking like elfin and cute. And has also, our first house is where that's how we present ourselves to the world. Through our first house, it's the personality we have within us that we're comfortable leading with, that defends us, that keeps us safe, that knows how to survive and thrive. And Koki has definitely used this cute elfin appearance to her advantage, like throughout her life. You have no idea how difficult it was to correct or discipline like this kid who literally looked like a little elf doll. She's used that to her advantage in life, but also to other people's advantage in life. From putting herself in the middle of somebody in a bad situation all the way back to her childhood, and taking on when her siblings should have been sometimes the one in trouble. She would say it was her. She also has Pluto right up here with her rising. And so despite this cute elfin look, there's absolutely mischief and trouble, especially with Jupiter over here. And with a Sag rising. Because, Sagittarius as an archetype, this is where you go off to university, house-wise, right? The 9th house. They're the archetype of the college student. They're seeking knowledge, they're intelligent, they're bright, the truth is really important to them, and they party and get up to hijinks and have adventures. And that is all part of that. And whether you are looking at university and college students in your hometown, or you were one, you certainly know that is absolutely part of the archetype. And so that's part of the archetype of Sagittarius. But like this Pluto, like, definitely sits there in her rising, warning people, like, you remember, fairies bite back. That's a disturbing
That's good.
weather flutter or whatever. And so we see that there. And
Chipmunk.
we also see Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And, you know, I also like the college prof. And so when you meet Coco, even though she's cute and you wonder if she's gonna like be a bit more sprite or pixie and bite you back, you know, if you need to see her Chiron side, you see with it. She's not afraid to hide that side of her that has a really healing energy. This Chiron, however, though sitting here, sextile to her third house, which is the house of like neighborhoods and our siblings and the surroundings where we are most comfortable in our childhood, there, you know, and with the Libra sun, you know, which is it's also sextile. So we have Chiron here that sextiles this Libra sun, and sextile this third house with Neptune. What we have here is this desire to heal relationships between people and make sure that people get along, that they aren't fighting. And this is really strong, not just with these two sextiles going on, but also with Chiron sitting here in opposition to the seventh house, which is ruled by Libra. So it is sucking in, you know, a whole lot of air energy into this fiery Chiron. And there's this huge peacemaker side to Coco that is amazing, and also sometimes Libra sun problematic. Sometimes you're a people pleaser. It can be an issue. And you know, definitely that elfin appearance aids in Coco's ability to do this. What we do see though is this Chiron being sextile, you know, this Aquarius, Neptune in third, and this Libra sun in 11. So we have a lot of air energy coming in that definitely does like inflame the fire that you have going on here. It inflames the fire. It feeds it. And the other thing we need to keep in mind in this grand cross going on is Sagittarius and Gemini, while they sit in opposition, they're buds. Like, Gemini is showing up at all of Sagittarius's parties. They are buds. And Gemini's air absolutely feeds the Sagittarian fire. But we do have a lot of air energy coming in. And you do notice and pick up on that in Coco's personality. We also have Uranus in the third house, and it is conjunct the south node. And definitely Coco has a tendency to make a lot of friends who are older than her. definitely, there was never a point for Koki in her childhood where age was a factor in friendship. She made friends with children younger than her, children older than her, and adults. And this has been a consistent theme throughout Koki's life. All right. So with all this air and fire energy going on in here, I will address the rest of this Grand Cross in a minute. One thing that is problematic for this peacemaker, this fiery peacemaker, is Mercury sitting in the 12th house. This energy going on in here is a fantastic storyteller. This energy is also a fantastic storyteller. But this Mercury landed in the next sign. Mercury is always either in the sign of your sun or the sign before or after it. It landed in Scorpio in her 12th house. And so her ability to speak up and address her own wishes, her own desires, and even sometimes her own unique thoughts, which she has tons of going on in here. Especially, you can see uniqueness and unique thoughts, as well as like this disregard for age and friendships as a lifelong aspect of her personality, with it sitting here in her 3rd house. But the ability to express it is really difficult, especially with it sitting there in the 12th house. Mercury in the 12th house has difficulties expressing themselves because our 12th house, well, our 1st house hides everything we don't want everyone to see in our 12th house. It's not just a shield till you get to know the sun sign and the rest of the chart. This is what's in the 12th house is the last thing you see in a person. And so, opening up her heart and being soft as a Venus Scorpio 12th house is difficult. And furthermore, expressing it absolutely is. And so this is where, the peacemaking shifts to people pleasing, with it stuck here in this basket going on that includes these sextiles.
Talk about depressing, jeez.
You have other fantastic parts of your chart. So if these people were like all sitting down at a table, right? The sun is sitting down at the table with, this fairly like moody Chiron, and, with Neptune and Uranus, they're all like talking with each other, and ignoring Mercury. And if you're sitting at a conversation in here, Mercury's like squeezed in here and not in a comfortable spot between the sun and, this, moody Chiron. Not only are they louder than Mercury, which, typically they shouldn't. Mercury wants to talk. We all know Mercury wants to talk. These guys are pretty loud in these positions. The Pluto really makes this quite loud. Sun. And if you're sitting at the dinner table here, you can see these two people just talking right across the moon. That's not happening here. There's no planet here in the 2nd house, Capricorn. One of the things that Koki really does have the ability to do is find a way to make it through like the month with her needs, with the things that she wants, whether that's, and we all have different tools to doing that. If you share, people tend to share back, and then when you're out, you're in luck. In this, but it's an awareness and a personality type that takes lots of other things. This isn't where she shares, because this is her second house. But her sixth house over here is Taurus. And as much as Taurus likes to be well fed and looked after, Taurus is pretty nurturing. A healthy Taurus is nurturing in an earthy kind of way. And you could see sharing coming in with a Taurus. A Taurus is willing to look after themselves as well as others, especially in the sixth house. And so then you see the payback to that in the second house, and Capricorn work out for her. But speaking of, money and finances, one of the big things going on for Koki is the 8th house, which is 8th house Cancer. And we have a north node in an empty house. Having a node in an empty house often speaks to a karmic lesson. This is the house of other people's money. It's also the house of marriage and business partnerships. And, it sits in opposition to the second house. These are your own needs, and these are the needs that you need. These are the things that you need from others. And so there is a karmic lesson going on for Coco in that house that she will need to figure out. And the clues to it will be in the family house, Aquarius. We have Uranus at home in Aquarius, and conjunct the other node. And so that means it's in direct opposition because the nodes sit in direct opposition to each other. And the lessons for it will come from an unusual childhood, set of siblings. And definitely she has an unusual set of siblings and sibling makeup. She has a large number of siblings on both her mother's and father's side. And different and interesting relationships in them. And she's often was everybody's favorite sibling, although this social Libra sun had a lot to do with being everybody's favorite also. Okay, I think the last thing I want to say about this section before I move on is we do have a trine going on here between the sun and Uranus, and it forms a grand trine with Saturn. Okay, so we're going to look some more into this grand cross. So we see here that, we have Gemini in the 7th house, and we already have like an unusual personality going on here, and one that struggles with self-expression. We haven't talked lengths about this Venus, but Venus in the 12th house can be a trip. And we see Saturn and Jupiter conjunct here, and they're sitting in this grand cross and in opposition over here. So we see like, especially with this Aquarius here, in the grand trine going on with Uranus, we really see atypical relationships, and this would be accurate as Koki would describe herself as two-spirited and polyamorous. There is no desire to be tied down here. And there is part of this is there's a great deal of belief in responsibility in expansive relationships, the expansive I think, particularly aims to the polyamory here. But there's no desire to have a relationship with somebody who wants to put responsibility onto the other person. There's a desire for people who take who are largely responsible for themselves. And this is a self-preserving desire with the Libra sun. Because a Libra sun will typically take on plenty of other people's responsibility, which has been a habit throughout their life. And so we see a self-preservation here from responsible Saturn, saying like, yeah, but if you're gonna have a relationship with me, you're not dumping all your crap on me. You need to be responsible for yourself in this. There will be a strong desire with this grand trine and this Sagittarius rising for, people to be smart and intellectual and have ideas, not necessarily academic. We don't see strong academic ties. In fact, we see unusual education here, which is also highly accurate. I homeschooled my children. They were homeschooled together, but essentially got different things out of their education and went into many different pathways as they got older. And so non-typical education is definitely something for Coco. And we see Leo up there. So there's a confidence in her atypical self-education and knowledge. And that is a strong tie in here. And so this, like I said, this is where we see this balance in this self-preservation. And so we see aspects of this Grand Cross working well together, which I do think we tend to see with a Grand Cross that includes Sagittarius, Gemini, especially in the lead position in the cross, in the horizontal position in the cross, like where you would begin reading that cross. If it starts in Gem or Sagittarius, I do find that it does tend to be far more functioning. Pisces in the third house, and Virgo in the 10th house with Mars. Pisces in the third house is the moon. In the fourth house. This is a Roman numeral setup similar to how you see on Marseille decks, where instead of 1V for 4, you have 4 ones. So what we have going on in this aspect of there, we can often see with Pisces sitting in the 4th or 10th house, a loss of parent in childhood. And this was really accurate for Coco. And it can make for a sensitive person in childhood, especially with the moon sitting here. And again, in a self-preservation aspect here, we see the 10th house Virgo and Mars. And so we see like a really strong lead to define oneself and one's reputation as independent, very much as independent. And this definitely protects like a really sensitive moon. And this protects a really sensitive moon and a very empathic moon, one that is always going to feel what's going on in the family intensely, like really intensely. And So to stay healthy, it does need these protections. And we actually see it all around in the Grand Cross. We have the healer Chiron in here, and Pluto coming out being like, I got my own fucking back here, so don't cross me or bite me. I think it's really interesting, Koki's Pluto position. At her rising, because it was a very interesting, unique, and disruptive kind of birth. The birth itself, like, she was birthed at home. When things went moving, she came out quickly because I have prodromal labor, so it's like slow early labor that lasts literally forever. Okay, days, and then all of a sudden you give birth in minutes. Well, it's prodromal labor up to 3 hours. If you go in, you go from like active to having given birth in under 3 hours. So all that was fascinating and interesting and brought lots of laughs. But like her dad, her father, because he's not really ever been a dad role, although they know each other, and he's not very dependable. Bad shit happened to him, and this actually plays out multiple times in Koko's life. So bad shit happened to him just before the birth. Actually, it happened to me, but he lost his ever-loving shit because it was very much tied to his life, and was losing his shit, and threatened to kill several people in the apartment building while I was in labor, having a home birth, and got arrested. And I can see that going on here, and that was all going on.
Also Auntie's singing.
And there's so that's what I was getting to. So all this is going on, but like all my people who would be her aunties were in that room singing traditional songs, singing her into the world. Like midwives were laughing because while we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, it was amusing that she was born on Thanksgiving Day while I was clutching the kitchen table and the midwife was catching her underneath it. Totally amusing.
Anyway.
Anyways, so we see this like strong self-preservation going on in a really functional Grand Cross. So we have covered.
Okay, so wait, quick thought. What I'm getting to is my protection mode is not opening up.
No, that's not what I'm getting to. Your protection mode is healing, letting people know they can't take advantage of you, even though you're really super cute. And even though your boundaries tend to be kind of loose and weak, you have come to develop strong boundaries in relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Functional.
And, and this allows for this. Koki does have, a strong psychic abilities within her chart. And we can see that it's inherited right down to the Pisces moon. We can see that it's inherited because it's sitting in here in the 4th house. And so that's an interesting aspect of her chart also. Her 5th house is Aries. When it comes to playing, to dating, to having a good time, Coco leads hard and fast and furious.
Nice.
And we did talk about the 6th house a little bit, Taurus. Coco could really use to develop this aspect of her life, but also she's like 20, turning 21 in October. So, this is not a strong house at this age. Actually, Cookie's like, yeah, this is not a strong house at it, before 25. So we can look to see skills that we can expect her to develop if she chooses to. We could see problems that she could possibly develop. But this isn't a house that's generally very developed at this age. We didn't talk about Venus. So, as well as like amplifying this situation here, we, have this situation, this quinsux going on with Venus. And like I said, the 12th house is what you hide. And also the 12th house, it's tied to psychic abilities. And that is actually part of the Venus being in the 12th house and the moon being in Pisces that is inherited. Because this is a medicine thing here. But it also comes with its own tricks and shadows, because in the 12th house, we're also dealing with secrets and with, mental health and the things that we're hiding, criminal activity. So there can be issues with having relationships with people who have pretty huge issues going on in their life. So that's the thing. But there's other aspects of this too. I'm not going to heavily get into what the medicine aspects are for our family, because that's based within closed tradition. But for our family, we do see this combination. Yeah. And it really just explained the chart out more than, this isn't actually how I planned on going through this chart with everybody, but this is what I did. And I'm going to turn it off, because this is a really interesting way for to be able to look at these cards. It's not the only way to be able to use these cards. They'd be excellent timing cards.
Why do you keep going? Because aren't you almost through it?
I pretty much am. Hang on. They would be excellent timing cards, and I also would definitely be able to use them to enhance a reading. I don't know if I would straight up do a tarot reading with them, so I'm definitely going to experiment with that to see how it goes this week. All right, we are going to turn around the camera for a wrap up. So that was the Living Wheel astrology cards, and we just went through Koki's chart with them, setting them up in a full wheel, and it was really visually satisfying. A few times I was like, what planet is it? And then I was like, oh yeah, there's a symbol to look at. I also really appreciate the symbols being there. If you don't know the symbols, you would have to learn them. But if you want to learn astrology, it is absolutely worth starting with the basics, like learning the symbols. It's just going to be easier for you to read astrology. It's going to be easier for you to look at wheels and read them and really see how the cards are interacting and talking with each other and the relationships that are going on there. So I'm quite impressed with these cards, and you can check them out and at the Living Wheel, and I've put all their links into the description box. And I hope you enjoy your day. like, comment, and subscribe in case I didn't remember to say that in the introduction. And also check out my website, www.auntykstarot.com. We have every Wednesday Tarot Study Buddy. Every Saturday we have Win a Reading, which you apply for on my website in both cases. And then randomly throughout the week, there's other videos from reviews to oracles of colonization, where we take political looks at tarot and history. See you later, folks.